This is a Wanscam HW0054 mini dome IP camera. It's got motorised pan, tilt and zoom, 355 degrees horizontally, 90 degrees vertically with a 5x optical zoom. It's got a 2 megapixel sensor capable of 1080p at maximum resolution. It's a Wi-Fi camera. It's got a built-in speaker and microphone, and infrared illumination up to 50 meters for a nighttime vision. It arrives in this packaging. Inside the box we've got the camera, an Ethernet cable, antenna. This is the bracket that you mount the camera onto, some roll plugs and screws, a handy little double-ended screwdriver, the power supply which has got a European fitting on the end, so they actually supply with it an adapter for use in the UK. And then we've got some software, a little bit of advice on how to operate the camera's parameters, and the quick installation guide. Just screw that down until it's tight. So that's the antenna fitted. That's fairly easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is to download the app onto an Android device. If you look at the instructions there, we've got QR codes, one for Android and one for iOS for Apple devices. So I'll install the app on both devices, on an Android and on an Apple device. I'll start off with the Android device. So I shall put the camera over the QR code. There we go. There's a link there to take us to Google Play, so I'll click on that. There's the app, so I'll install that. And there it is there, look, so we can click on that. And that's the Wanscam app installed on my Android device. I'll do the same with my iPhone. There we go, that says view in the App Store, so I'll click on that and we'll get the Wanscam app. And there it is. So very, very easy to install the app using the instructions that are provided with the camera. I'll turn on the camera. I've opened up the app on my iPhone. Now the camera will go through a startup sequence, and that's why I've mounted it on this wooden base. And then it will start making a noise, and when it makes the noise it's telling you that it's ready to connect up. Look, you can see that we've got camera selected at the bottom. I'm going to go plus. And there's a QR code on the label on the back of the camera. So I'm going to try and scan the QR code, so I'll click on that. I reckon I spent about an hour trying to connect the camera to, first of all, my iPhone and also my Android tablet, following the instructions that came with the camera, and it was just physically possible to connect it. I could not get it to connect at all. So in the end I decided to connect the camera to my router using the Ethernet cable. So I connected the camera to the router with the Ethernet cable, plugged the camera in and installed the client software, and this next bit of video just shows you that process. So then I decided to install the client software on my PC, and as soon as I did that, the client software found the camera. As you can see from the image on the screen, the camera image was split into 3 sections, and I couldn't work out what was going on, so I used the pan, tilt and zoom to try and see if the camera was actually seeing anything, and it became obvious to me that the screen was split into 3 distinct sections. Next I clicked on the settings tab at the top and clicked on the Wi-Fi button on the left hand side there, and then asked it to search for my Wi-Fi connection. Once it had found my router, I entered the password. You have to enter that twice. I clicked on apply, and then it said that it had connected. So actually setting up the Wi-Fi was fairly easy. So once you've gone through that process, go back to the app and then select search camera from LAN, and then as soon as you do that, the app will find the camera. So that's me mounted the camera. The cable I've actually put through the side in there and into the loft, and there was already a hole that was about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. I had to extend that to get the block through, and I do really think that the block is a little bit excessive. If they split the cable into power and Ethernet and put a little separate reset button in, you could poke them all through a much smaller hole. And unfortunately the Wi-Fi doesn't work, so I will show you where the actual router is from there. You can see the camera up there. Now there is literally just one brick wall and a few feet, between the camera and the router, and it's not receiving a Wi-Fi signal. So I'm not impressed with the Wi-Fi signal at all. It's not very good. So I've solved that problem by connecting the camera up with an Ethernet cable, basically. So I'm stood about 10 feet away from the camera now. I've rigged up my video camera because at the moment I'm going to let you see what the microphone is like as I'm speaking towards the camera now. So as you can see in here, the microphone is pretty effective on the camera. It's actually very good, I think, and it's quite clear when people are speaking. You can hear what they're saying quite clearly. As far as trying to speak to somebody using a microphone and the built-in speaker, well, it's totally ineffectual and not much use at all. So let's have a look at the app. There's a camera there. If I click on that, it brings up the image, and I'm impressed with the image on the camera. I think it's quite a good 1080p camera. Let's see what we've got. So it's possible to pan and tilt the camera using a sliding action on the screen. You can record directly onto your tablet or phone if you want to, and you can see it's recording now. There's a function there to take a snapshot, so you want to take a snapshot. You can have the sound on or off, and as you can see, we've got a microphone up there that allows me to speak through the camera, but as we've seen, that's not very effectual at all. You can change the resolution from HD to SD. There's facility there to set presets, zoom and focus facilities, so I can zoom in and zoom out, and you can also focus it. Now, I've had no issues at all with the focusing, so at no time have I actually needed to adjust the focus. You can flip and mirror the image. So on the client software on my PC, if you right click on the camera underneath region, you can change the resolution from HD to lower resolutions. You can't do that anywhere else on the software. And also you can record to the computer hard drive or stop recording. When you press recording, that green light there on the right hand side lets you know that it's actually recording. There is also the facility to pan, tilt and zoom, and that's very easy to use. So this clip just demonstrates a 5x optical zoom on the camera, and having this zoom is a real advantage. I absolutely love it, and there's a good clear image. I've got no issues at all with the image that this camera produces. One thing that had me stumped when I first got the camera is the fact that you cannot change the resolution from lower definitions to high definition using the camera parameter settings menu. So you've actually got to use that right click method that I showed you earlier on. Well, I think this is a great little camera. I love the pan, tilt and zoom. It's a very, very good image. I'm very impressed with the image. It's one of the best 1080p images I've seen. Infrared coverage is really very good as well. That's one of the best I've seen. It's easy to install, but it's let down by a few things. The Wi-Fi is pretty poor, and I think that if you're going to buy this camera, unless you're right on top of your router, you're going to need to wire it with an Ethernet cable. The software lets it down a bit, and I do think that Wanscam need to look at the software and try and improve it, because it's quite convoluted and difficult to use. The other thing is that it records in the weirdest format. It's a .264 format, and none of my video editing software will work with that. You can use AVI. Unfortunately, my video editing software won't record the sound for some reason on AVI. So that's why when you're looking at this video, you'll see that I've used screenshots to show you some of the camera footage. So I do recommend this camera. I think it's a smashing little camera, but there are a few things that need to be improved on it. I've been wanting to replace the camera that was before this one for a long time now, and I'm glad that I chose this one to do it with. It's a nice little camera. Anyway, I hope you found this review useful, and thank you for watching.